Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course.
Pop Palace, we celebrate iconic women and queer people in pop music and culture. So one thing we like to do is have our guests introduce themselves. If you could tell us your earliest memory in music and one of your favorite memories in music.
Cool. Okay. My name is Lily Kincade, and I'm a pop artist, singer, songwriter, storyteller, creative. One of my earliest memories in music, I remember, was writing my very first song about my dog on the piano. I think I was in first grade maybe, but I literally just remember being like, I had so many emotions, and I sat down on the piano and just got them all out. And I've been addicted to songwriting ever since. And I'm getting ready to release my debut album in October. So that's crazy. But, I've been doing music ever since then. So my whole life, basically.
I love that. It's happening so soon. I am so excited. You've described cinematic as movie and song form, with each track playing like a scene in a film. Can you elaborate on the approach to the track list?
Yes. So the title track, I love having a title track. I've put out 2 EPs, and I just love having a title track. I don't know. It just feels so like album. Like, I think it's so, bring back like full albums. I love like a full project. I don't know. It just feels like you're stepping into a world, but I knew I wanted to have a title track. And so I was writing, I probably wrote like 100 to 200 songs for this project. And halfway through, I ended up writing Cinematic, the title track. And I was like, that's perfect. Because it described, like, it's almost like that song is the movie trailer of, these past few years of my life and the emotional roller coaster it is being in your like late teens, very early 20s. And then all of the other songs are almost like little scenes from movies. And I don't know, I just love that, because there's songs that are like happy and good, and there's songs that are sad. And that's what it's like, growing up and like feeling all these emotions. You're going to be happy. You're going to be all over the place. And so I love how this album kind of like, it's celebrating being all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. I also love how it's like an all-encompassing work. It's not just like a single here and then like just making music as you go, but it's like a whole art piece put together, and like you're building an entire world, which I feel like when you listen to it, you'll be able to step into and kind of like escape reality for a little bit. And I love that so much.
No, because I feel like, I don't know, I love listening to projects. Like, I'm always an album girl. Like, occasionally if there's this new song and I'm like wanting to learn the lyrics, I'll just like listen to it on repeat until I'm sick of it. But I love like, okay, I'm in this mood, and then I just like put on the album, and I just love it, because I feel like I'm like able to get out of my head. Like, I'm able to just vibe out. So I knew I wanted to create that when creating my album.
Yeah, definitely. As a fan and like a listener, I almost feel like when I put on like an album start to finish, I feel like I'm almost putting on like a costume or like going into character and like being that character, whoever that makes me feel like in the moment. Do you feel that similarly?
No, exactly. I always say, like, with my music and even the music I love, like my inspirations, I love music that feels timeless. Like, it's not trying to be trendy. It's not trying to be, oh, this is cool now. It's like, I just want it to be whatever I'm feeling. So that way, like, in 5 years, if I relate to one of the songs, or if a listener relates to one of the songs, they're most likely going to relate to all of them. And I kind of like that too, because then you have songs that it's almost like you can heal while listening to the album, because you're able to process different emotions. It's not just angry or just sad. Like, you have like all of them, which I think is really cool.
And I think it allows you to grow with the music too. Like, some of my favorite timeless albums meant something to me years ago, and now when I re-listen to them, I can experience those like nostalgic feelings, but also relate it to like my current life and things like that. And sometimes when it's not like a whole project, it's just more of like a fun sound. I love it. I'm so excited. So was it sequenced to tell a specific chronological story, or did you organize it more like thematically to create a particular emotional arc for the listener?
I would say the track listing of Cinematic, it's definitely, there is kind of like a sequence to it. Behind the Scenes was one of like the second to last songs I wrote, and that's the opening track for those who don't know. But I knew I had written Cinematic and was like, okay, then I wrote Mr. Hollywood. So I had some themes, but the rest of it was just, what I was going through. I always say, like, it's literally the story of like age 20 to like 23, which is like a crazy time, I feel like. But, it's about multiple different people, but I would say like it's mainly about me and, just the emotions, like, because it's like, I feel like before, you have like your first major heartbreak or something, you don't really know. Like you're not as scared going into things because you just don't know yet. And so I would say like behind the scenes, the opening track is like a message to the listeners, a message to whoever's listening. And then it starts to dive into like, okay, the highs are high and the lows are low. But yeah, it all happened over these past couple of years, but it just kind of sequences with that and then closes off with Mr. Hollywood, which is, I would say, like the most like reflective track looking back.
Yeah, definitely. When was like the first time you sat down or had the idea to write a track for this project?
I'm always writing songs. Right here behind me on my piano or my guitar, I'm always writing songs, but I would say like I was always writing songs, knew I was making an album. I would say I started kind of intentionally writing down like specific ones. It was probably Mr. Hollywood because I had written cinematic like a month or two before. And I was like, okay, the album theme was coming together. Cause I always say you can't like force it. It has to be, it naturally comes out. It will naturally tell you. The songs will tell you, here's the vibe of the album. Because for me, like as a female artist, like I want every album to have a different look, to have a different sound, because, you know, I don't want to get stuck doing this one thing. And I think that's cool because then you get to experiment and I won't be stuck like, oh, only making this style of music. But once cinematic and like movies, Hollywood, which I love, I was brainstorming some things and like I ended up sitting down and being like, oh, Mr. Hollywood would be a really cool song, like to fit the vibe. And I know exactly what to say. And then after I wrote that song, there was only a couple other songs that I wrote for the project and I kind of like knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah, definitely. When you're writing music, do you have like an organization strategy or is it a little bit everywhere? Do you use your notes app or a pen and paper or like how do you keep track of your ideas?
It is definitely all over the place, which I feel like, you know, creativity is inherently all over the place. Like it's really hard to describe. I always say like, you know, there's that saying, it's like messy or it's like messy mind, like clean room. I find for me like, sometimes I have to like quiet the noises around me. So like, that's why I get a lot of ideas when I'm like driving or like going for a walk, because when you're not like, when you're doing something with your body, I feel like my brain can like process and think. But I always, you know, I have like 1,000+ notes currently in my notes app, which is actually crazy. I need to organize them, but I'm always writing down random things. But sometimes it comes to, sometimes I'm like somewhere where I'm using my phone to record something. And then, so I end up writing on paper. Like, I think it's always different. My main thing is like recording voice memos. Like you have to record it on, cause you'll get that perfect melody and like your intuition always knows. And it's crazy. Cause like you'll always, most of the time when I'm writing something, you know, you come up with an idea and you're like, oh, that's not good enough. And you spend an hour or 2 hours trying to come up with something else. And you end up going back to your first instinct because it's usually right. Like your gut and whatever it's telling you, it's usually telling you the right thing. But I would say like, the main thing when I'm songwriting is voice memo or like recorder. You need to record because when you're in that flow state, that's when you're getting good ideas. Like whenever I try too hard, it never works. I'm like, oh my God, I need to write this song. It never works. It's always like randomly. I'll be in the shower. I'll be like, oh my God, that's a perfect line.
Yeah, I totally relate. I'm not musically talented, unfortunately, but like anytime I have a new idea, it's always when I'm like not trying to do it. Like I'll be at work. I work at Lush, so I'm like selling soap and stuff. But it'll just be in the back of my mind. I'll just have an idea when I'm like doing work stuff and I have to write it down right then and there, or I'll forget about it, or it just like won't come to fruition. But like if I'm sitting down on my computer, like coming up with ideas and stuff, it's just so much harder.
Yeah, it's like because I think our creativity is like an inner child. Like it needs to like flow. It needs to be like, if we're being like, come up with a song, it's hard to do that. You know, our emotions are still like delicate already, that you need to have this like safe space where it can play and it can like create.
Yeah, definitely. So how important is visual world building in relation to your musical world building?
I would say I love visual world building. Ultimately, to me, the music will always be the most important thing. Like if somebody was like, you can have the best visuals in the world and like the songs are okay, or you can have an amazing songs with like just a white square as a cover art, I'd be like the amazing songs. Because at the end of the day, music is about music. And I feel like we have to remember that. Like music is so important and visuals go with that. But like, if you are trying to make timeless storytelling, it's like focus on the music. We don't know what technology is going to be like. We don't know what if our phones go away and we have like little tiny chip phones, or like we don't need phones anymore. They're in our hands. Like ultimately, I've always been, and I feel lucky that I was like taught that. And I, you know, grew up, I grew up on like Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey, just people that were like poets and like real writers. And so studying that, like I remember I was like such a music nerd when I was little. I would like come home after school and like print off all the lyrics of like the songs on Billboard 100. And I would like put them I had like a big notebook and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like that was like fun for me. I'd be like, I want to look at lyrics and like analyze the lyrics, because at the end of the day, it's like, I love visuals and I think they add to the experience, but the music for me is always the main thing. And I like it when the visuals complement the music. Like they just help you dive deeper into the music and maybe, you know, show new perspectives or help you like imagine it more. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously important, but the music is number one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, I've never even thought about the perspective of like our technology might be different in the future. And so like keeping the music, the core will like stay the same, and like the visuals could just be like an assistant to the music, because like we don't know what the future is going to be like. It
could be like holograms, or like think about like VHS tapes. It's like, okay, well, like VHS, if you only had visuals on VHS tapes, it's like you got to be able to do things in different formats, which is also what I love too. Like I love doing things that are physical, like physical media is coming back. I love doing things that are physical. I love doing things that are digital. I love doing a blend of both, because technology, I feel like, is moving so fast that, you know, you don't want to like make that your main thing and then have it be, oh, there's something new. And then you're like lost.
I love that. So you moved from Kansas City to Los Angeles to pursue songwriting. So growing up in the Midwest and then moving to a city defined by the film and music industry, has your move influenced your sound or your storytelling at all?
I would say yes, 1000%. LA has influenced me so much, as well as Nashville too. And I think that, you know, going back and forth for writing, because I fell in love with Nashville because I love the songwriting. In California, there wasn't as much of that, like the community of songwriting. Nashville was the first place where I really started co-writing with others. And it was like other people that are so nerdy too about the songwriting. And like, that was the first place I found it. And then LA is just a very like inspiring place. Because, you know, it is cool. Like I love history, and I love like, oh my gosh, you can drive down these streets and you're like, oh my God, all of these iconic people drove down these streets, or like think about all the movies that were filmed here. And I think that, you know, so often we forget that like we're not the first people like living here, going through things, experiencing love, experiencing loss, experiencing heartbreak. Like it's, you know, we're so much more alike than we are different. And I think there's something so cool about, I love like when places inspire me. Like a lot of nature always inspire me. Like places can inspire you because it's like, think about all of the things that happened there before you. And suddenly it's like, okay, if you're freaking out about something, you're like, okay, other people probably were upset about something too, or cried about a boy here. Like I'm not alone.
Yeah, I love that. I think of the same way too. Like I live in a 100-year-old house, and I'm like, I'll think about like all the people that have lived here before me and all their stories and how I'm adding to the story too. It's so fun, and like it makes me really like feel like a connection to humans, especially when I'm like sad or lonely, because I'm like, same people have felt the same experiences in the same location as me.
No, exactly. And like I always think about like, I don't know, it's been interesting. I feel like it's, at least me personally, I've been thinking so much about like my like genealogy, like my grandparents, and like oh, like their daily life. And like I don't know, I feel like we're so lucky to have technology now. Like they were so limited in what they could do, because think about even like talking to somebody, you had to like write a letter and it would take weeks to get to them, or you would have to like take a horse over to their town or something. Like we are so lucky. Like I have friends that live like across the country, like all different things, and that's crazy now to think about. And it always just makes me like, I love like putting things into perspective. It makes me like grateful for everything we're able to, you know, do now.
Yeah, definitely. I relate to that so hard. I'm in Oklahoma, and there's not like tons of like queer people or women in pop music. And so the fact that I can talk to people from around the world while I'm still here is just monumental. And it really affects people too, because there's people all around the world that are interested in listening. They just might not be in the same location.
Yeah. And it's like so good, because people forget about this. And like, if you just left where you are, that's not changing anything. You want to bring it to where you are. You want to be able to like, whether that be, you know, over the internet, or like you take a trip somewhere, you meet people, and then you bring that back to where you are. Otherwise, that's how things change. It's like, you have to, you know, you have to be the person to like start doing something. Or like, I always tell people, like, I have so many friends be like, I wish there was this. And I'm like, just start it. Like you can start a club, like you can start a podcast, like do it. Yeah. Like somebody has to start it. And like, you just have to be bold enough and brave enough to be that. Like everyone's like longing for a community now. Everyone's wanting to like, you know, come together, I think. And people are like nervous or scared or like embarrassed. I'm like, no, I don't know when our society was like, we're too cool to try. I'm like, no, like, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Let's bring back like asking people, or like you see somebody you want to be friends with, like, hey, like I think we'd be good friends. Like, let's go for a hike. Like, I don't know why everybody, I think it was just the pandemic made everybody like socially, myself included, like socially awkward, but we have to work that, work out of that.
I go bring it back. Do you ever go back to Kansas City?
I haven't been back in a while, but the last time I was back, I did make a video to what's that song? Oh, it was like I made like an MTV Cribs video, just showing the outside of my house, because there's obviously like new people that live there, but like my childhood house, which was so funny. Like, so I was there, I think it was over the holidays. So I was there with a couple of like my other like childhood friends, and like a lot of them or their parents like moved away now. So it feels so different, but it's always different because in the suburbs, I feel like a lot of my friends, they had older siblings. And so like they were the last kid, and the parents were like, okay, once you guys go, we're going to move to like the beach, or we're going to move somewhere like to relax. But I don't know. It's always so cool. I can't wait. I'm really excited like one day to get to go back and play like, the arenas that I went to growing up, like, and watched my first concerts at, because I feel like that's going to be like, whoa.
I'll be there. I'll drive from Oklahoma. It's not far. So how do you feel like being a woman in the music industry kind of affects others' attitudes towards your projects? Do you think people look at it differently because you're a woman in music, or do you think that it's seen the same as like if a man released a project?
I would say it's less about, at least for me personally, since I do write all my own songs. I mean, it's got to be tricky if you're somebody who's trying to get outside songs, because then you're like, why would you think I would say this? This is not me, or whatever. So I'm always saying what I want. I would say it's like more on like the business side. I think people like can underestimate like your creative vision a lot of times as like a woman, or like, I don't know, like they assume that I have other people helping me, or assume that, oh, like some guy wrote this for you and you're doing that. Like even Taylor Swift, it's like, I've always made it a point on every single one of my like EPs, albums, projects, even future things I'm writing now, like at least one song is 100% written by me, even though I write all of my songs, right? Like it's like me and a coder, me and my producer. But, Taylor Swift had to do this where she had to write a whole album. And I'm like, okay, like, people still think she doesn't write her own songs. And so I'm like, okay, I've always made it a point to do that. And it's less so about like ego, because it's like at the end of the day, if the song helps one person, like it's not for me, but it's more so of like it's a business, it's the music industry. And like, you have to be able to withstand the business if you want to be able to get your music out there ultimately, which is like to help people and to make people feel less alone. So it's like, you can get to that, but you have to like be business minded and to like protect yourself and fight for the things that you believe in. Like, I feel like it can be very easy to, especially like, starting in the industry so young and seeing people, like, I feel like I was lucky and had like a good head on my shoulders. I've always had good like friends around me, but you have to be like, people will use you, or people will come in and just want something from you. And you have to like remember your purpose and remember like the end goal. And like, if you feel like something is like too good to be true, or it's like rushing you and you feel anxious, that's how like the fruits of the spirit will tell you. If somebody's like, oh, I have this opportunity, and all you do is feel anxious, or you feel like not right about it, that's a sign. And that goes for every area. I tell people this, like your job, your music, your friends, your relationships, like you should be like, whenever I hang out with like my amazing friends now, I literally feel so energized after. Even if I'm physically tired, I feel like inspired. I'm like, oh, I want to like create, or I just feel like happy. And so I don't know, obviously as you grow up, you're going to like find that out. Like part of that is knowing yourself, but especially like, and anything creative, like when it's your property, like you want to own your songs, you want to have the ability to control your voice, and to, when you want to release that song, be able to release it. And so I think just, you have to know who you are. Otherwise in the industry, people will tell you who you are, and eventually you're going to find yourself, and then you're going to be stuck being that other person. So
and it's so important to like truly, you can't live a happy life, I think, pretending to be someone you're not, even as much as you can try to convince yourself that, or like convince other people that. I feel like people can see through the facade at some point when you're not being like authentically, truly yourself.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So do you associate like colors or scents with your music at all? Like if cinematic had a color assigned to it and a scent assigned to it, what would that be?
It would probably be like a deep red or a deep emerald green. I love like a deep emerald green, like deep red, like old movie curtain red. I've never really thought about scents. Honestly, like I love like scents, but I've never thought about scents with like my songs. Obviously, like some of them are they're very visual, but that would be a cool. I should like look into that because I'm a very color person. I see everything as like different like pictures and different like vibes, but I feel like it would just. I love like warm scents. So I feel like cinematic would be very warm. I'd be like, you know, you have an amber, you have like a vanilla. Like I love just like warm scents that make me feel cozy.
Yeah.
And especially too, like that's why I'm so happy this album is releasing in October, because I just love listening to music in the fall. I don't know why. I think it's like dark outside early. Yeah. I feel like everyone's, you know, going back home for the holidays or whatever. Like I have a lot of time alone, and there's like nothing better than like putting my headphones in and like, I don't know, like going for a walk or like seeing the leaves around me. It just feels like cozy. And so I'm excited to listen to the album in the cozy weather.
Yeah. October's my favorite month. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be perfect for like fall weather. I always go back to like my classics during the fall. I listen to like Honeymoon and like a little Lana's always on the mix, but especially in the fall.
I was listening to Honeymoon yesterday. Have you seen the Lana Del Rey map? Do you know what I'm talking about? I have to send you this. No. You're going to be like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I thought, oh my gosh, because I've always said this. I'm like, you guys, this is where I took the cover for this photo. One day you're going to want to go visit it. I'm going to make a map for myself. I want to make a map for myself. And this girl made it. I think she started it like 2 years ago. It's just on Google Maps, but she has everything organized by like album. And it's like, here's where she shot this photo. And then she like goes and she'll be like, yep, this is the right place. And it has like, it's by album, right now. But it's by album. And then there's like, it's crazy. It has like 300 spots on it already. But it's so cool because I love that. Because like, I know Lana's been like, oh, LA is like, and I truly realized this like when I went away. I'm like, no, LA is like a very inspiring city. Like it's like the biggest love-hate relationship you'll ever have is like with California. I think because there's so much nature here, and it's not even like the city or like the people. It's more of like the environment of California. Like you have these beaches, you have mountains, you have snow like 2 hours away. Like it's crazy. Even like driving through Laurel Canyon, like that's my favorite canyon to drive through. And I always think about like, oh my gosh, all of the singers back in the day that were there writing songs in the canyon. And like, it's just crazy.
And you're just like casually driving by.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my goodness. Like you can take it for granted and be like, you know, pre-pandemic when I was having to drive through it every single day for work, I'd be like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do it. And now I'm like, okay, no, like this is like so cool. Like there's so much history. Like look around, like look outside. Like when I'm at a stop sign, I always like, or stoplight, I always try to like, instead of being like stuck like in a negative mindset or thinking about my to-do list, like taking a breath and like looking around. Cause it's like so cool.
I also think too, like kind of going back to our previous conversation, like when I drive by places that are like historical like that, I'm like, I'll look at the big trees and just imagine like I looked at the same trees that these people looked at like years ago. And like, I don't know, something magical about that.
No, yeah. There's actually 2 places on the Lana Del Rey map in Oklahoma. It's probably where she had like her billboard.
When her Oklahoma era like changed,
that was crazy.
Life. It was so crazy. Random. I was working at a venue in Oklahoma City too, and I like the best opportunity of my life. I got free tickets to her Norman fucking Rockwell tour. Changed my life. Like my chemistry walking in and leaving was different.
I always tell people like, because I grew up also dancing, and so like the first time I heard Lana I was in like a lyrical class, I think, or like a contemporary class. I was like 12. It was like To Die Mountain Dew, and my dad sent me a picture, like a screenshot, because you had to like buy things on iTunes. You know, no streaming back then. It was kind of simple. It was nice, but I remember like listening to her, and like I always loved her music, but I didn't like get it until like one day I'm like, you will get it when you get it, and you'll just like get it. Like you can love it and like love the vibes, but like one day you're just gonna get it.
Like when it clicks, your life changes. Yeah, I get that. Okay, so lastly on Pop Palace, we love asking our guests to curate their own royal court, kind of going off the palace theme of musical influences or idols to sit around you in your court. You're on the throne. So if you could pick like 3 or 4 idols or influences that inspire you, or you just like really like their music, who would be on your throne or on your court with you?
Okay, I think it would be everybody that I listened to in like 2014 era, because that was when I first really discovered my voice, like my singing voice. And I didn't realize it until now that all of those things I listened to were like super influential to my brain. And it was like 1989 Taylor Swift. It was Born to Die. It was Ultraviolence on it. It was I See Your Tovlo poster in the back. It was Tovlo's. I literally was obsessed. I was upset. No one else did those songs. I was using Pandora. I didn't even have like Spotify or anything. I was using Pandora
on YouTube.
Yes, Tovlo was so good. And that era was so good. It was like Zella Day's first album. It was like Astrid S. Like her EP was so good. I listened to that all the time. It was Halsey's EP. Not even like Badlands. It was like her EP. It was like Banks' first album. Like all of that stuff. Like I feel like really shaped me. Because I loved how, you know, you can blend like narrative stories with like poetry and kind of like combining those vibes together, which I loved.
Did you listen or read Lana's poetry book?
Yes, it's literally right there. It's up there. It's above the Sofia Coppola book.
I love that. Mine's like right behind me. It's my favorite. I love it. Yeah.
And I have the vinyl at my apartment in Tennessee, but it's so good. And like it's so interesting. See, that's what I mean about having different modes. Cause it's like, okay, if the books one day goes away, you have it recorded. Like it's such a different experience listening to her, like read it and then reading it yourself. Cause I feel like sometimes like I love reading. I'm a huge like reader. I try to read like 100 books a year. I love reading. And like, I grew up reading a lot, being an only child. Like my parents had to take away my books in the middle of the night. They're like, give me your book. Cause it would be like 2 a.m. and I'd be like literally up like with the little like book reading light thingy trying to read my books. But I think it's like books are like they've done studies where they're actually like the number one way you can like get empathy and like put yourself in other people's shoes because you're engaging all of like your brain functions. Like to imagine it, your creative side of your brain is imagining this world and then you're also reading it and comprehending it. And so like I love reading poetry. I love reading lyrics. That's even why for my album I'm working on making like an album book. And I typed everything up in scripts because I'm like, even if you're not listening to it, like you're still gonna be able to read the story and you're gonna see it.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I'm glad you're making a book. I was about to ask. Yes, I'll be purchasing. Well, I hope you come to Oklahoma or Dallas or nearby surrounding areas sometimes in the future. I'll be there. Yes. But thank you so much for joining me. I know our audience will be so excited to hear from you. If you have any last minute like shout outs or anything you want to say before we go.
Nothing crazy, but go stream Cinematic when it's out. And the music video for the title track Cinematic is actually fun because I have been collecting like public domain footage forever. Like I literally have like 2 full hard drives of things. And I've also been just taking like, I love like vintage things, right? So I've been taking like Super 8 footage of like myself, but also like, sunsets are like pretty things for the past 2 years and like Polaroids and different things. So I knew I wanted to like incorporate all of those. And so for the title track Cinematic, I made a whole music video that you'll be able to watch soon. Directed, edited by me.
Slay. And I'll post all about it when it comes out. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so lovely to meet you.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was so fun.
You have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Like,
amazing. Okay, have a good rest of your day. Bye.
You too.